noise?
Yes.
Oh, you can?
Yeah,
Damn.
sorry.
No, it's all right. Well, we're live, so I guess if someone wants to say a prayer.
Sure, I can.
Okay.
Wait till you're in the mirror. All right. Our dear Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for this day, and we thank you for all the things we're able to get done. We ask you that as we think about and discuss this case, that we may be able to understand it better and learn the concepts being taught. And we thank you for these things and say them in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ.
Amen. Cool. Any spiritual experiences? Nope.
Nope.
Sounds good. All right, let's see here.
So these are pretty straightforward questions. Yeah. I have my Excel stuff with it. I don't know how it's going to take an hour, but
Right. So what value would you place on RightNow Technologies?
So with like the value that they want to pay, he said was several times. I have a 2-time valuation and a 3-time of 258 million and 387 million. And I think that the range that it asks for in the next question, if they did a multiple run rate of that 50,000 that that company would be going off of, it would be 250 million. So I guess my range would be that to 387
Can you show your spreadsheet?
Huh?
Can you show your spreadsheet?
Yeah, no problem.
I just want to see how you did it.
Yeah, let me go back to the share. Let me put this big. Hold on. So, I mean, it's pretty. I didn't do anything crazy. It's just the valuation. The last valuation was 129 million, and the run rate is 50 million. So, the 2-time valuation would be the 258 million, and the 3-time would be 387, just based off of that. And then again, just timesing the multiple run rate of 50 million times 5. I estimated that because they said several times over. I think that would be the most reasonable thing to keep the investors from wanting to do IPO instead of this. And so that, yeah, that would be my valuation. So it's pretty simple, but
they're going to get more money out either way with selling.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So did anyone else have different ranges? Did you guys have a different range of numbers, or what were yours?
I did kind of what you did, except my math didn't work out because I was doing it like 15 minutes ago and it's really late.
Yeah. I just took what the valuation was last time and did a multiple of 2 and 3.
Okay, so you got the same numbers as I did.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, that's it. And if his investors seek a 30 to 50% IRR, what exit value will they expect? And I did that as well. As a total, I mean, because he had, the Series A and the Series B. As a total, if they sought a 30% IRR, I got it as 42,120,000, and if it was a 50% IRR, I got 48,600,000. So, with him, it doesn't really ask us to do this, I don't think, but with him having the 60% stake in the company, I mean, he would retain a large majority of that 250 million. So I don't think it asks us to divide up his portion, though. I didn't see anywhere that it did. But
are you doing number 3 right now?
yes.
So yeah, if Greg's investors seek 30 to 50% internal rate of return, what exit value will they expect? Well, it's the internal rate of return that they have right now, right, at this time?
I was doing it off of their original investment. Should I have done it off something else?
No, you're right. Their original investment's correct.
Okay.
And what did you estimate it as?
So, I mean, adding the two, Series A and Series B together, at 30%, the IRR would be 42,120,000.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was the 50%, it would be 48,600,000.
And they should be able to get that if they sell.
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like no problem. Out of the 250 million base, I mean, that's no problem. It could go up to that 387 million. So
Yeah, they could get a lot of money.
yeah.
Basically, this guy has sold businesses for a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'd really like to check the box that he checked, which was wealth.
Huh?
Remember how he said he sold his first business, and then he said then he checked the box of being wealthy?
Yeah.
I would love to check that box.
Yeah. No.
Didn't he sell his first business for 10 million?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And then he only used 5,000 to start this company, right?
So what decision do you think he should do of the 3?
I think he should sell for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Because it doesn't. I think out of all of them, it kind of serves him best in his mission. He doesn't care too much about money. He wants to provide, 2,000 jobs to Bozeman, Montana area.
Yeah.
He's not gonna.
But if you look at that point, if he sells out now, he's only given 1,600 jobs. But if he grows,
yeah, you're right. So he has he needs to provide 1,600. So he only has 400 jobs right now. And the thing is if his company isn't big, it's doing something new and it's doing something great. And a lot of investors, especially bankers, want to put it into IPO, which is kind of nice. But he's going to have more stability and he's going to be able to grow the business better if he merges with this other company, because they already have a big foot in the door. They're going to be able to provide, like I said, a lot of stability. Plus, they're changing things pretty drastically right now. They've just gotten done with pretty much revamping the business model by hiring this other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing an IPO at this stage, I think would completely distract from what they're trying to do internally right now. I don't think it'd be a good move, especially because I don't think that they can expect the same kind of return that they could get from this merger. Plus, it's just not a really good market for them right now, and it's just going to distract from a lot of things.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think the IPO is really a good plan at all for this point in time. I think with the other company, who is it? .com. What is that one? Salesforce.com. I mean, they're going IPO right now and in the next 9 months. And I think it would be much wiser to even see how they do. But I don't think IPO is really an option at all for this company right now. I completely agree with what you said, Stephen. It's just not what they want. They're not going to get the returns, same kind of returns. They just and all the changing and stuff that they'd have to do for the IPO. I don't think that's. I didn't even consider it really. I think it's either sell or retain and grow. And I think that this guy, I wasn't sure how to say his name, Gianforte. I don't know, but I think that he might want to have it continue to grow organically. But I think the best option for the company is to sell, especially if the valuation and the sell price is so high. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
But personally, I think he might want to stay on and, get those 2,000 jobs and just see it grow, because he's not strapped for cash. He's wanting to do something, and he started this to begin with because he didn't want to be just fishing, right?
Yeah.
So I think personally he'd want to do this, but I think the best decision for the company would be to sell.
Yeah, and to support all those points too, he talks about when they went they tried to go IPO the first time, it just didn't work out, and he kept mentioning there were still scars from that, and that it was kind of rough for them, and he laid out like a bunch of bullet points of why IPO wouldn't work if they tried to do it again. He had like a really long cons list, valid, and so with those things it really turns you off. And one thing I was really impressed about was that the company that did offer the merger, they didn't even bat an eye when they put forward the amount of money. They even put the value to make the initial investors satisfied too. Though the only thing that was different is that I've never heard of an all stock deal, but that was kind of cool that they would get everything in the share of basically doing that. The big company retains Gianforte or whatever as a leader because he now has an equity share. So
what exactly does, if you know a little bit more about that, what exactly does the all stock thing do? Because I wasn't quite sure.
Basically, it means they don't have to pay him cash right away. What they do is they just give him a percentage share. So once the big company acquires them, he gets a percentage share of the stocks that they paid him. And so he then will have a specific amount of say and control in the business based on whatever amount of stock they give him, right? Compared to how much stock is outstanding. And if Stephen, if you have better ways of explaining that,
No.
You can explain that. But that's kind of what it is they're not paying him in cash. They're saying, hey, we're going to pay you in equity in our company, which gives you incentive that you want the business to keep succeeding, because now you can then sell the stock later for more money if you do better, right?
Right.
So it's to retain him to keep the business going, which in the long run helps the bigger business grow at the same time. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's where most of his mission lies.
Yeah.
So it closely it makes up for what he's trying to do.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. I really wasn't sure.
No problem.
So there's only 4 questions. I don't know.
Well, so a follow-up question I was thinking about is what scenario would he have to be in that it would be beneficial for him to go IPO right now?
I think the market would have to be better for one, because it's just way too, yeah, it's just way too risky. They don't, for one thing, other tech companies. Well, there's one tech company that's about to go IPO, but they really don't know how it's going to do. And for the most part, they already know that the tech companies that have gone before haven't done that well. That the market itself is still kind of a little sketchy on .com since the .com burst, right? So
yeah.
So I think, yeah, I think it would just have to. I think the market would one thing the market would have to be better, but I'm sure there's other things.
It was interesting to see Salesforce on there. That's what my business uses as our CRM.
I think that a lot of what they'd have to do, I mean, he lists lots of stuff, changing around the software and stuff for on demand. That'd be crazy. That'd be hard for them. That'd be a lot to manage. So.
Well, it did say if they did the on-demand that they would basically have to rewrite their entire code for their whole CRM.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's time-consuming. That's labor. That's, it's just basically changing your whole entire business because you're basing it off of a whole new coding and programming.
Yeah, that's
right. Too much work. Way too much work to try to do that, and go IPO.
Yeah, and like you said in there, I mean, they'd have to let go of their quarterly, oh gosh, what is escaping me? Projections or goals, their quarterly goals, right? For that time period in order to even get that done. And that would be a big risk in that if they did go IPO, I mean, it would just, that might, put everything down, their stock prices and everything else. I mean, I just think it'd be crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
So why shouldn't he wait then? Why shouldn't he just build the company organically?
Why shouldn't he wait?
Yeah, because those are the three options, right? So maybe we should go through each and talk about the pros and cons. I don't see too many pros with it. I mean, I don't see too many pros with it. It would take years and years to get to the level that he could get to if he merged with this other company.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's at such an infant stage and they're already offering him this much money, taking forever. But at the same time, the tech industry is ever evolving. It mentions that in the case that, it's constantly changing. And so, going on demand seemed like what was going on next. Like, so how often, do you have to rewrite your software in order to keep up with the demand trends of your customer?
Yeah, exactly.
Or your CRM could just become obsolete in the next 2 years because someone finds something better. So you're at a point you're getting valued high. Go out while you're high, and don't try to risk it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like I said before, I think personally he might want to continue to grow the company organically. But I don't think it's a wise choice for the company. I mean, it's 2004, right?
Yeah.
Or at the end of 2003, and I mean, this is right when stuff was starting to go really great before the crash of '08. So it's like, I mean, our perspective, of course, 2020 at the history, but
Yeah.
it's a good time to sell. It's a good price.
With the information we would know, we would have been so successful then.
Oh yeah. Right.
And the thing is I think for the most part, I mean, he's a really smart businessman. And like, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy, like he's an entrepreneur, right? Like, he creates a company, he gets out, he does another one bigger and better. He's not like the kind of CEOs or founders where we've seen before, where it's his baby and he doesn't want anyone else to have a part in it. So I don't think grow organically is something that he would even want to do. He understands that this is kind of the next step, and if the company is going to evolve the way he wants it to, then he doesn't mind a buyout.
Yeah. Do you think it would have changed his business if he started in, say, Silicon Valley as opposed to Montana?
Probably, but I mean, so I went on my mission to Montana, and yeah, it's a very small town place, not a lot of people. I think definitely it would have had a bigger effect. I think he would have. I think it would have taken off bigger. Would have been more. Would have had more awareness as well. But then again, that's his only reason. Like he didn't really build the company to become a multi-millionaire. He wanted to do it because he wanted to affect the economy in Bozeman.
Yeah, I think going into Silicon Valley, like you said, it would have had a big impact on the company itself. But on the other hand, I think it would not have gone the same at all, because he used the students up there in Bozeman for such a low, I mean, $8 an hour to customize.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a huge part of starting up, and the low costs that he retained. And so going to Silicon Valley with it would have just jumped all those costs, skyrocketed.
Yeah.
I mean, it would not have been $8 an hour.
I'm working with a business now that is in business here in Rexburg, and so they kind of have a lot of the same issues. It's a college town. It's a small college town, and it's kind of isolated, and so they have issues there. But again, they're here because they want to affect the economy in this certain area. But in the case, it didn't seem like it was much of an issue.
Yeah.
Like they never talked about how it was more expensive, or it was creating, a lot of big issues.
Yeah, I don't think it really caused issues for him. I mean, they've had to fly people out there. He flew 40 people out there, he said, something like that, for the one position.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But I think that for the startup stuff, it was a lot less expensive being in Bozeman because of the college right there and the low costs he could pay them to do all that stuff,
That's it. Low labor is attractive.
Yeah. I don't think Silicon Valley would have had $8 an hour and college students so willing to take it.
Yeah, Silicon Valley, big area.
Yeah.
One thing I liked that one of you, I think Chantel mentioned, was, his purpose for the business that he kept. His only real pro for an IPO was just to get awareness. That it was
honestly,
He's basically saying an IPO is basically a marketing tool to get your name out there.
Right.
Because he talked about his customers, they read Wall Street Journal and all those big names, and they only mention what's public, not private, and so That was really his only supporting factor for going IPO.
Right.
And so I almost immediately eliminated IPO because of,
Yeah.
There was not enough strength for a small company
Yeah.
to do that,
Plus, he would have had to do really, really well in the market to even get that type of awareness and
Correct.
Coverage, and so this merger though with this other company that's already well known. I mean, I hear about mergers all the time, so I'm thinking.
I mean, I just sold a merger like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that there's. I mean, is there a downside to selling compared to merging? Yeah.
Often the only downside is employee retention. Oftentimes the new company will come in and wipe your employees out.
Yeah.
Or they'll restructure your business. But that's really it.
They didn't talk much about that, like what's going to happen? Are they going to keep the business in Bozeman,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But most of the time they keep like your higher level management because you're the like brains behind it.
Right.
But that's like the biggest damage. And if your business is based off of who's working, then it can hurt your business. But most of the time, merging is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Like AT&T and DirecTV is one of the biggest ones right now.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to buy T-Mobile again. That
was a big thing a little bit ago, but it seemed like a lot of people kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the only things against the merging would be, like it said in the case, the board and senior management was like a little not too thrilled.
Oh yeah, that's right. The board thought that they could do better with an IPO.
I think so.
Yeah, well, they said that they favored it. I don't know if they talked about like if they thought that they could get like a higher rate of return, or if they could have gotten a better return on the IPO. But I know that they favored it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why.
I think maybe just because, I mean, that's what all companies do, right? You go IPO and get bigger and bigger that way. But I just don't think that's a great. I mean, we've already discussed this, but it's not a great option for this company at this point. It's going to take a while to get to that point, and
Right.
this is it's a much better offer. I mean.
Right. And he kind of said it. He said, he has pretty much 60% ownership, and he can pretty much make this decision.
Yep.
And I think it's, he talked about if they do the merger, that basically the board of directors were going to get rich quick, and they were going to get a lot of money. So there wasn't like people were losing money at all in his merger idea. I think he was just being smart and trying to weigh all three options. I really wish I knew what he actually decided at the end, because they just left you on a hook, because he's like basically about to call, and then he's like, and the case is over.
Yeah. Yeah. That last paragraph, though, is interesting. It says he believed he had the chance to create one of the next great software companies, and he could envision a RightNow with hundreds of millions, perhaps billions in sales. So it's like he wants to hold on to it, but I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Because he laments, like you were saying, like the markets change rapidly, and that could play a part. But I just thought that was interesting.
You think about markets changing rapidly, and then you see Apple and Samsung. I mean, they're the giants in the tech industry, and Microsoft, and they've been able to adapt. But I mean, if you look at it, they have to release a new product every year in order to keep up with demand. look at how the iPhone has changed, right? They continually are updating and adding and improving because of how much the demand in the tech industry is so rapid, you know. And so they have to release a new product every year, which is annoying because then I feel like I have to buy a new product every year. But that's basically what he would have to do to be a giant. That's why all the other companies don't make as much money, because they're like, oh, we'll release a product every 4 years. Well, you're not keeping up with, you know, all the latest and greatest, right?
Yep.
That reminds me of Capsum. Do you guys do Capsum?
Oh, I hated Capsum.
Yeah, Capsum was brutal.
I love Capsum.
No, I
loved
it, but it wrecked my group. We did not do well in the beginning.
Oh, really?
Learn how everything worked until partway through, and then we were already like way too far behind.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I got lucky because I was because they let you pick whoever you want. Like if you're on campus, they let you pick whoever you want based on how well you did in the practice round. And so I was I was number 2, so I had the second highest revenue. And so I got with the number 1 guy, and we got a couple other people that were really good. And so we pretty much dominated the entire time. Plus, I tutored like 2 semesters after that. So, but yeah, it just reminds me of high tech and low tech. You know, like high tech, you're right. You know, they constantly have to put out new material because that's the demand. That's the type of industry that they're in, and this is exactly the industry that they're in. You know, they can't rest on their laurels for any period of time. They always have to be developing, which I think their company culture already promotes, which is good.
Yeah, that's a good example, for sure. I mean, like you said, you're always moving that high tech section, and constantly.
Yeah. Don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
On Capsum.
Part of my problem with Capsim was that we weren't able to pick our partners.
Oh yeah.
We thrown together online, and I was pregnant and sick every day, so
Yeah. You guys, did you both do it online?
I did, yeah. Did you do it, Zach, online?
No, I did it on campus.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was back when I still decided to live in the Arctic tundra.
Yeah. We're almost out of here. Well, I guess we could do a summary. We're pretty much almost 40 minutes in.
Right.
Anyone want to take over the summary?
Yeah, I'll start.
Okay.
Overall, it was good. I think that Fort, I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name, but I think that he had the vision. One thing I liked about the case is he started analyzing the tech industry and analyzing businesses to find out a weakness to fill, and he filled a need. And he grew the business to a sufficient point where he was offered by a business to merge with him. And I think overall, the only real decision would be to accept the merger, just because he was already at the point of retiring. He doesn't actually need money, but he's going to get bored eventually, and he needs to grow, or not grow. He wants to basically retire, and holding it for a long time as a young tech company, like we discussed, battling the demand that's very aggressive, which would eliminate an IPO this early due to, his company could become obsolete or or they would have to basically restructure, rework, recode CRM. And so overall, I think that he made good decisions to bring on, that, what was that guy's name who basically redid the whole business model and basically, right. Bringing him on was a great decision because I think that guy really brought the true value to the business, because before that, basically Gianfort wrote the code, and that was like all he did.
Yeah.
He had the business smarts and the code and the idea, but this other guy he got he had like 190-page document over 6 months and basically built the company.
Yeah.
And it was after that they grew. And so I think that decision was pinnacle to him getting to the valuation he was at for that merger.
Yeah, I think for the most part, his business model, Greg, I think, yeah, that's his name. His business model was pretty. It wasn't the norm, he started cold calling companies without even a product, and then he kind of made a product, and it almost kind of worked for that type of industry because he created the product. It almost forced him to create a product that that people asked for, and so it was kind of crazy the way that he did do it. And then he brought in that guy, which he kind of they streamlined everything. And when they brought on that lady for the financials, he was like, okay, we need to get all this stuff done because I haven't thought about any of this kind of stuff. It was insane. But yeah, at the point that they are right now, I think the merger is definitely going to be most beneficial to them and the company that's buying them out, because the company is going to get something new, a company that is doing something innovative. Plus, they're going to get a great return. The investors, the original investors, they're going to get more than definitely more than 30 and 50% on their rate of return. So money's not the issue. Money's great. And I don't think an IPO is going to be a good idea. I don't think the market's good enough for it. Plus, it's just too much risk involved. Waiting and the IPO, you can get everything that the guy wants out of the merger with no risk to little risk. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't do the merger. It's going to grow the company, and it's going to put his company on a fast track of actually improving the economics and the economy in Bozeman.
I agree. The IPO just isn't really an option. They'd have to rewrite their software to the needs of on-demand. That would be insane for the company to do. With the merger, they would have it would be a valuation of between 250 million to 387 million, I think is what we decided on. And that's plenty for, like you said, the 30% or the 50% IRR. Essentially, everybody will get what they want, what they need out of the company now, without having the risk of waiting, or maybe possibly having the technology be obsolete. And it's the best option.
I think so.
I totally forgot about that, like bootstrapping or bootlegging thing. That you brought that up, Stephen. I forgot about that he just basically sold without any concept.
Yeah,
it was crazy what he was doing. Yeah, it was nuts.
It was, but it worked.
90 days. What do you want it to do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like nowadays you have to have huge amounts of information.
Yeah. In school they make you write out the business model.
Yeah,
that stupid thing. That's another thing.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Things,
yeah.
the little like your customer, your product, your
customer segments and channels and
Yeah. I guess taking
all that stuff.
383, all that.
I was, yeah, and then it's just so insane that I couldn't. I couldn't do it, so I just took 499.
Oh, really? You had an option. That's nice.
Yeah, 383 is just like it's so insane because like you're supposed to develop like an idea for a business, and that's what entrepreneurs are supposed to do. But like you basically do the same thing, but it's like pulling teeth. Like you've
I
already
know.
said the same thing, but you have to be more dynamic, or you have to just pull something out of your rear
It's
end to
crazy.
like
I was
put
so
something on
happy
the
to do
page.
that class.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Cool.
You'll send the email out in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think this is